For today's project, I'm going to head down to my local hardware store. I'm going to grab some closet poles that expand. I'm also going to grab some brackets. I got a great idea what I'm going to use these for. These poles are really cool. One is larger than the other, but on the end I've got a cap with a screw. I need to take that off. Now I'm going to go inside the house, measure with these poles, put them together from floor to ceiling, and mark the height of my ceiling. Then I need a drill bit for that screw hole. And what I'm going to do is I need to put these two together. So I'm going to mark it exactly the height I need, and I need a pre-drill. When I go through these, what I'm going to do is get it through, and then I'm going to attach it back again with the screw. This is going to be perfect size that I need. Once I get this all put together, the next step is I'm going to take the smallest drill bit I can find and pre-drill. Now, this is a self-tapping screw. Do you see it's got a little drill bit on the end? It's perfect for metal poles. Don't push too hard, but you're going to put that first screw in, just let it go, but don't go all the way because we're going to put that bracket on and slide it into place. Then we can take a pencil and mark exactly where our next screw needs to go. We can go ahead and pre-drill that also and put the screw in, but we need to take it back out because we're just making the hole. Put the bracket in, again, like we did before, slide it right into place as it clamps there, and then we're going to go ahead and put the screw in. Now, don't push too hard, just let the drill do its job. Once we get that first one in, we're going to put the second one, but this one's going to be at a slight angle. We're going to do that, mark the hole just like the first one, and put the screw in and make it secure. Let's head on inside now. We're going to put that bracket that comes with the poles into the ceiling. These are white, so it matches the ceiling, and then we're going to pop it into place. It's actually going to be really secure all the way to the floor. Now, let's take some twine because we're going to hang some plants, but we're going to do this ourselves. We're going to put a knot in a nice big loop. You can just go ahead and make this loop any size you want, from big to small. Make sure that knot is secure. And then what we're going to do is take it, fold it up just like you see in the picture right here, and then we're going to give it a little twist right at the end of that first inside loop. Take your plant and we're going to place it right on top of where the strings cross. Now take that top loop, fold it up and over and back through again. Give it a little tug and we're going to pull some of that slack out. Then take that top loop and fold it over the plant. With the little side magic right here, we're going to pull it over and back through again, and then go ahead and take all that slack out slowly but surely, and watch this. It's going to pull against our pot and it's going to hang really nice. Look at that. I can do with all of those, and I made my own hanging plants. Once I hang all of these up, make them secure and straight, and it looks great hanging right in the corner. It was actually a pretty dull corner to begin with, and now I've got some plants hanging up right inside. I hope you enjoyed this project as much as I did. For today's project, I grabbed a basket from the local store. What I wanted was something that had texture on the side. As you can see, this is perfect, but we don't want our concrete leaking out the holes. So grab some blue tape. It's the best for this project. It has great adherence. Put it on the side, layer by layer. Now, I want to show you. It's okay when you're putting it on, if you get a few wrinkles in it, just smooth those right out. It's not going to affect the concrete at all. We just want to make sure it's basically waterproof to a point. See that handle on the side? You want to cover that also. Just run that tape up and down. Once it is covered, look for any light that comes through. If not, you're ready to go. The next step is to grab some concrete. This is fast setting concrete. Don't use it if you're not quick, but it's perfect for the job. We're going to mix it up by starting with some cool water. Pour it in the bucket first. That keeps the powder from sticking to the bottom of the bucket. Next, you're going to add the concrete, a little bit at a time. This is half a bag and half of that. It is dusty, so make sure you go ahead and use a respirator. Pour a little bit of water in, and not too much though. There's nothing worse than mixing too much water at a time and you don't have enough powder. Once it's all mixed up, the consistency we want is something like pudding, like this. Something that's hard but won't drip over the sides. Once you got it, let's go ahead and grab some oil, and you're going to mix that into the basket. This keeps basically the concrete from sticking to the side. It doesn't take much. Don't drench it. Just wipe it on the bottom and the sides. It'll be perfect. Now, just start putting in the concrete, one bit at a time. You can go ahead and pour it. If you have it a little thin, just go ahead and pour it. Mine's a little bit, could use a little bit more water, but go ahead and mix it.
Use a glove though if you're going to do it by hand. It will dry out your hands and cause your skin to crack. Now, remember how we got that perfect consistency? Look at this. Smooth it out with your hands and look at that. It's turning out wonderful. Next step is to grab some wood dowels, 4 of them of equal length. Each one of these is 12 inches long. These are going to be the legs for our stool. Now, on this, want to make sure you don't put it too close to the corners. It'll cause the concrete to break out. You need to have some strength. I put it in about 2 inches from each side. Twist as you're putting them in, and once you got them in, make sure you take your gloved hand and just press around the sides to make sure any gaps are filled. Let it sit for 24 hours after you make sure they're all straight, and when we come back, it's time to remove the basket. Here we are. 24 hours later, give the sides a little jiggle, and we're ready to put it up on its legs. Slowly but surely. Once you get it up on your side, it's time to take the tape off. Now, some of that concrete is going to stick to the tape. That's perfectly fine. Just keep pulling the layers off. Remember, do not worry about the concrete sticking. Just keep pulling it off and then give the basket a little twist. Remember we put that oil on there? Here it goes. Voila! Concrete stool. Now, it's a little rough looking. Rub your hand over it. We're going to stain the legs, give them a paint job, and look what we're going to have. And here's our final project. Painted the legs. It's perfect for the outdoors. Just wonderful. And it makes a great addition to the front porch. I'm so glad you joined us on this project, and we can't wait to see you again on Home Talk.
For today's project, we're going to need a bucket or a bowl that has some designs on it. Don't worry, this one's got holes in it, but that's not going to be a problem. We're going to take some tape and we're going to cover all these holes up. It's very important that when you lay the tape, just do it in little pieces. You're not going to want to just cover the whole thing. Push it on there pretty good. Don't worry about what it looks like. That's not going to be our concern. All we want to do is make sure that none of our concrete is going to leak out of the bowl. So once you get all that tape on there, go ahead and flip it over. Make sure everything's color. Turn it back over again. We're going to look for any daylight. If we don't see any, we're good to go. Now we're going to get some quick setting cement. Set it down. Pour a little bit of water in first. Now we're going to put some pigment in that. It doesn't take much, just a little bit. Watch this. That's all you need right there. Take that bucket and swirl it around and get all that water mixed in there. You're going to see a lot of dust here. Make sure you're in a well-ventilated area. So go ahead and put that concrete in. I've got some gloves, so that way I can just mix it by hand. That way I can check the consistency, make sure it's about pancake batter. That's what we're going to want because we want it to flow, but not too much. Once you get it all mixed up, just start putting in your bowl with all the tape on the edge. Just set it in there, and once you get it, go ahead and start wiping it around the sides. We're going to go ahead and fill those holes now. It's easier to do when you got a little bit in. Keep going until you get about roughly 2 to 3 inches on the bottom of concrete. Again, keep mixing all the way around the sides. That's going to give it a little bit strength. It's almost like we got a bowl within a bowl. Once we get all of that mixed in, it's time to mix a new color, and this one's going to be gray. We're going to do it exactly the same as the red. Mix it in, swirl, add a little bit more water, and then we're going to add some concrete. Put the last bit in there. Once it's mixed up, go ahead and pour the whole thing right inside our bowl. Once you get a lot of that poured right on in, we're going to grab us a cheap little bowl and we're going to smash it down in there. That's going to give our cavity that we need for putting in potting soil or our plant. Once you get it in, let's just go ahead and smooth it out. It's going to get rid of any air bubbles, but we need to make sure it's full. Add a little bit more of that concrete. And then I grabbed an oversized popsicle stick, and it's almost like putting icing on a cake. We're going to smooth that out because this is going to be our top. We want it to look good. So take our little stick, anything you got. Also clean up the sides. You're going to have a lot less cracking if we make sure our bowl sides are cleaned up. Once it dries for a few hours, pop that little bowl out of the middle. Don't worry if there's little cavities, that's fine. Now we're going to turn it over and we're going to take all this tape off. Some of that concrete might stick to the tape. That's normal. Just let it go. Now work it around and pull that bowl off and look at that. What a wonderful template that made. Look at all those little designs. Now it's time to plant it, put our plant in, and display it. Now this can be used for indoor or outdoor because it's made of concrete. But I love the two-tone color to it. It's better to mix it that way instead of painting. I hope you enjoyed this project as much as I did and gave you some inspiration for your own DIY concrete planter. Thank you for watching Home Talk, and we'll catch you next time.